We're there. Oh, when I hear that, every time I go live, there's always alarm. If you don't hear alarm when I go live, that means your notification is not on. Every time I go live, an alarm goes off. If the alarm doesn't go off, people, it means that you guys didn't push the notification. If you don't subscribe, you don't still have to press like the first bell, on the notification, right? There's a thing there that you guys when I subscribe to the channel, it's like an alarm bell there, and it tell you guys that there's a notification on people. I'm gonna keep on telling you guys have to press like the notification so now you hear it like anytime I do anything for my channel, it pop in. And that goes for everybody channel people. Please, subscribers, please turn on the notification. I mean, my live is you guys can watch it later. Doesn't matter. But you know, sometimes when I'm on my live, it's like people are calling me. And I'm saying if you guys look on the phone and I say, oh, he's live. I'm just saying, people, just saying. Simple things. Simple things. Simple thing. Please, let's keep it simple. All right, people. So, say once the class door open, the school open, say class is is ready to go. Right? We just have to say, all right, this is the topic today. Manners, respect, manners, respect. Give a shout out to all of the peoples them on the chat. Big up all the good morning, good afternoon, have a nice day, people. It's funny, I'm telling you something, people. Um, it's not it's not like it's not like it's only March people who can practice good morning, good afternoon, have a nice day. Like there's no the more of the 12 colors you practice, the more complete you are. Right? I'm gonna say the more you practice the 12 colors, the more complete you become. So March, good morning, good afternoon, have a nice day. It's not if you have nothing good to share, you can always share a smile. It's not just for March alone. It's for all right through the year. Okay? February, it's not the practice is not just because you're born February. Strength, honor, dignity, highlight by morals. It's not because you're born January, right? You set the balance with all the other colors. These are the practice that we're supposed to be practicing to make us a better humans. That's one of the things. When we say some people stuck in a color that they don't represent. That's what I mean. So a person can say, I'm this color. Yeah, so you're this color, but prove to me that you're this color. Do you carry out the characteristics of this color? Or you just say you're this color? Like I can just say I'm a Jamaican. Anybody can say I'm a Jamaican. But do you carry on the tradition, the culture of what a Jamaican is supposed to represent? and not what Jamaicans do. Because just because you do it, it don't mean say it right. People, I'm telling you, enough of these things because we don't talk to each other, we don't communicate. We have some things where we just assume this is how it is, and that's how it's supposed to be, but it's not. When I say everything is a convoluted bunch up in a one, and there's no, you know, there's no separation, there's no meaning to anything, there's no understanding of nothing. And we're not supposed to be confused. If we have a brain, we can listen, learn, ask questions, right? Them things that take you out of confusion, right, people? Okay, so we get that out of the way, people. Okay, so we have a couple. I say one of the things that I how do I say this? How do I put this? So some of the things that I'm going through and learning and understanding, right? It's our history, it's our story. And people tell full story or them want to tell it, And then we always complain and I say, oh, that's not our story. That's not them never write it. But one of the things I say we need to write more. Or we can't stress that enough. Every if me not say it every minute, me I go say it at least once. We need to write more. We need to be AI can write the story like how we write it. AI can sweet it up or whatever, but are we for write our own story? Now the people them must say them have to get protection against people who knows okay. When I really not understand say all of these people are saying AI and don't understand the detriment of what AI eventually is gonna do. Right? Why is it everything has to be done by AI? What's how comes we become so lazy? Everything we have to do, somebody else have to do it for we. Why is it so important for we give up everything, put all of the responsibility on somebody else? AI is just a tool until we make it become a god. Because we not turn money in a one god. Now we not gonna turn AI in a one god. I don't know if you know follow what going on, people. I really don't know if you know see what's going on. But it's gonna become like a military state where them have AI control everything. Everything of them show in them Terminator movie that on a thing say it's a joke thing. I'm telling you, so them have to show us some things, right? Them can't hide everything from we. Them have to show we some things, and we have to figure out where them are show we. So enough of them people they're not humans, right? A lot of these people are not humans. So me no know where uno don't understand. So most of these, the narrative, everything, trust me, it's not, nothing to do with we. It has nothing to do with us, and it has a lot to do with so much other stuff other than we. But again, we not pay attention to nothing. That's a full problem, you know. We not paying attention to nothing. But anyways, people, me say me did want some things me say me did want to talk about on this live, right? Couple things more want to talk about, people. I said we always say we're poor, but we have so much wealth. We always say we don't have it, but we have so much. We just don't pay attention to what we have. It's funny, people. And serious. How about serious? It's just what I see coming, people. It's just if we not do nothing about it, if we don't do anything about it, it's just gonna end up just like back in the day, right? It's just gonna end up like back in the day. Past, present, future are the same thing, and these are the proof that it's gonna be in the future, just like how it is now. Sure, no, no, I know. No, go on, man. Me here. I did subscribe to our channel. I listen to the host. I hear the host say, um, him say, Elon Musk, my friend. Oh my goodness. The man say, Elon Musk, my friend. Me unsubscribe, brother. Me unsubscribe. Me can't call Elon Musk my friend. Me sorry. You might like the man, but me no say man, me no say man no friend. So if you can't call somebody your friend, I don't think nothing of you. Me sorry. Me have to unsubscribe. Me find something else, some more educational program for watch or something. So me unsubscribe. People, past, present, future, you know, I just we not pay attention to nothing. Oh yeah, we are paying attention to entertainment. Sad, sad, sad. But true, true, true. Anyways, people, from me in a school, me good, you know. Anytime I press the button and say, school, it's open. So people, me there with one of the people I'm me subscribe to, Ticket TV. Me tell them say Ticket speak with Angie. And that's me tell them say anytime I have any issue, right? You can always go over Ticket TV, right, and tell them how you feel about anything. Ah, Ticket is very entertaining, very intelligent, right? But I'm telling you, same time, I'm gonna piss him off. That's where you guys are supposed to be. Because you see, there's people who don't want to be in that mode, right? And then there's people who love that mode. So what you guys need to do is just go step over to Ticket TV, and whatever issue you guys are having, you guys just tell Ticket. So as we proceed, people, this is Ticket TV, and this is before him channel start him have a intro, right? And again, this is the society we live in, right? We can try our best, and then we have the critic who comes along, maybe wash him face, brush him teeth from morning, right? Click on his smartphone and come and say something stupid. That's how it is. These people don't know how long it takes for a person to research and to put together their content or whatever they're putting up, showing to the world, sharing with the world, whether it's good or whether it's bad, right? We have to think, people. We have to think. We have to use our brain. Tomorrow, I don't know, I'll probably drop one later tonight, but I say these are the things we just are gonna explore them things here. Because I'm telling you, say it's so past, present, and future. It's so entwined. You guys won't believe it, but we not pay attention. I don't wanna come back in my next lifetime in a this, I wanna come back in our lifetime where my skin people are balanced. Cause in a this loop, yeah, we no balance. There's no balance for us. There's no balance for us. There's no protection for us. What me say? Injustice anyway, somebody are dead. Injustice anyway, somebody are dead. So people, I'm telling them, say any problem I not have more to no rush over to Ticket TV and tell Ticket TV how no feel. Alright? You can like and subscribe to them channel too. As we proceed, people.
All right, man. So y'all press one. Y'all can hear me this morning. Got a mic check. 1 2 1 2. Got a mic check. And y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, man. And make sure y'all share this video right here. Because
Okay, people, and again, please, we can't get 150 subscribers by the end of the month. I don't think so that hard. Or even the 15th of next month would be nice. And people, can I get some more subscribers? Please, please, please. As we proceed.
you're not gonna want to miss what I'm about to tell y'all right now. So y'all can hear me? I bet. Salute to everybody. And shout out to everybody that's subscribed to the podcast show, man. The podcast show is creeping up towards 4,500 subscribers. I told y'all we trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. So if y'all want to, the link is pinned at the top of the comment section. Make sure y'all click that link, subscribe to the podcast. We appreciate everybody.
And I'm thinking since again this is pretty much what my YouTube channel is about. Wanna listen. right? Maybe we should create a podcast where we can just, sit down and reason. Because pretty much that at that moment, the more I sit down and reason, the big excitement and all of them stuff to people. Because when you reason, you don't need a bag of noise and a bag of confusion and all of that stuff. We just need people who's gonna listen to understand and who can always put in their point of view. So maybe we should create a podcast too. As we proceed, people.
So, and let's get into this video. And I have multiple videos that I put on the podcast show last night, and I have some more I'm putting on there today. But let me tell y'all what's going on. So this brother right here on the screen, I shouldn't even say brother. This demon, I should say right here on your screen.
And that match I show no. We're calling we're not calling it for what it is. We're calling it for something else. Right? That's the problem. At least in Kirk himself, right? Because this is really a demon. I said it before, there's different type of people. There's humans, there's aliens, there's so much different things out there. That's why I'm gonna say like-minded people. As we proceed, people.
Bro, as you guys see on your screen, man, right? This guy was a serial unaliver. Now, apparently what he did was he thought he was gonna have the residents for his dinner. Now, this guy apparently went missing uh, from a mental health facility, according to a new lawsuit. Now, let me tell y'all what's going on. And see, these are the type of demons and stuff that they got going around this world that the mainstream media is not telling y'all about. And so, you're going to see on my channel, since this is what y'all want, I'm going to give it to you. So, according
to... I guess that's what you guys want. We don't know what I want. For me, what I want is betterment. It can't be like this forever. Our existence not supposed to be like this forever. Something need for change as we proceed.
it says, the family of one of the victims details their loved ones grisly unaliving following a graphic confession from the devil horn tattooed unaliver who reportedly and allegedly ate their parts and drank their you know what over several.
Okay, people. We talk about this already, Right? You hear what this man do? Him name the people them. Yeah? Jeffrey Dahmer them, Past, present, and future people. As we proceed,
From a coffee cup, right? So he could gain their power. Now, according to these reports, a family is seeking justice after a 22-year-old man from South Carolina,
Monster from South Carolina,
living in a mental health facility, was brutally unalived by another resident. One, they say, had every telltale sign of a budding serial unaliver. Now, at 22 years old, named Jared Andreas' body had never been found, but he was declared unalived in 2023, allegedly following a quote-unquote graphic confession from Mark Anthony Cantrell, the man you see on your screen. In addition to Andrea, Mark Anthony Cantrell also allegedly admitted to unaliving a person by the name of Deshea Butler, who went missing from this same facility. Now, per news publication WIS10, the lawsuit was filed by Andrea's grandmother. Her name was Peggy, against the South Carolina Department of Mental Health, y'all, well as the New Hope Home Solutions LLC, the facility in question. Now, per the lawsuit, right, they're saying that the South Carolina Department of Mental Health recommended New Hope to the family, who they claim they had no idea the facility also served as a halfway house for released convicted criminals. And
Oh, people. Oh, that work. Oh, somebody come up with them idea as this is a good idea. Huh? Me no know. Oh, somebody come up with some of them ideas and say these are good ideas. So them are gonna put a psychopath. Boy, as we proceed, people.
was this man right here y'all see on y'all screen, or should I say this demon? It says who the lawsuit claims had a quote unquote dangerous criminal history, including allegedly setting fire to his grandmother's house to cover up the fact that he had brutally unalived the family's 3 dogs. And with
3 dog, you know. This someone analyze the people them 3 dog. So unless say this someone have some mental issue. And them still people. And them people are then supposed to keep track of, you know. You're supposed to be having these people on like some, you know, and time them have the file of them going on your neighborhood, you have to, them have to report to the police station. Them people need to do them things that too. As we proceed, people.
Was described by the police as a gruesome scene. Describing Cantrell's appearance, the suit said he was hard to miss because during his time in prison, this man had got what you see on that screen, deviled horn tattoos on his forehead, signifying this man's love and his worship for the devil. Now, according to the families,
no, a prison tattoo the man have on him forehead, you know. When me look on it, me people, me say when me look on it, it look like say the man, like saying face dirty. Me never know say that the man draw upon him face. Me I say it look like cat. It look dirty and it look like say the man. So when they in a prisoner, somebody have a scar or cut that out, you know, mark it out with some. Either them use some sharp object, some I don't know, nail. You can't find nail in a prison. Razor blade, maybe razor blade him use and scar it out, and that have it, him have to do it for a period of time so it can stick out like a tattoo. Right? As we proceed, people, as we proceed.
they last saw, right, uh, Jared, right? They last saw Jared alive, right? Uh, March 20th, 2023. It's another person right here, y'all. 1 month after he moved into the facility, his grandmother had taken him to a nearby lake before dropping him back off before the curfew that same day. When his grandparents returned 2 days later on March 22nd, he didn't meet them outside, and nobody at the facility answered the front door per the lawsuit. It wasn't until the next day they say that they heard from New Hope, who allegedly told them he had been missing since he was dropped off by the family. His disappearance, according to his relatives, was alarmingly out of character for Jared, who they say preferred isolating in his room. Despite a search, his body was never found. Another missing resident says 4 months after Jared's disappearance, another resident at the same facility, Deshae Butler, had also vanished. Butler, who was described by police as this man's roommate, was reportedly missing on July the 4th.
Man, as respect, big up yourself, producer.
Now it says, per this lawsuit, video surveillance led to the arrest of this man on your screen for the unaliving of Butler on the 9th. Now it says that then he allegedly confessed to the police that he had also unalived Jared as well, and provided specific graphic details as to how the unaliving was conducted and the means of disposing of Jared's body, according to the lawsuit. The suit claims he told the police that he unalived Jared by placing a bag over his head and strangling him with a rope before putting his body in a Rubbermaid bin, carrying it outside, placing his remains into a city garbage can where they were never seen again. Jared's family said Cantrell was no doubt emboldened by his successful murder of Jared when he killed Deshae, who they claim was also killed via strangulation before his body was dumped nearby. Cantrell also told the police per the lawsuit that he killed Jared and Deshae because of his alternate personality. Now, Robert Baldwin had instructed him to do so. He then allegedly said he had dismembered one of Jared's ears and both of Deshae's ears and put them in his mouth and swallowed them so he could gain their power before collecting Deshae's blood in a coffee cup, which he drank out of for several days.
People, my goodness. At that, may I tell you, 2025, That's why I say we live with some really sick people, Some sick people then and some sick people now and in the future. We are going to have some sicker people. As we proceed, people.
This man on your screen, Cantrell, was also charged with Jared's murder back in August of 2023. Sadly, every bit of this was avoidable. Read the lawsuit. Cantrell, who had every telltale sign of a budding serial unaliver, never should have been placed in a home with vulnerable adults. Upon information and belief, that South Carolina facility failed to take any appropriate steps to treat Cantrell or otherwise prevent the obvious danger that he posed to the public and to those living in close proximity to him, it adds. An attorney representing the New Hope said his clients raised concerns about Cantrell, both law enforcement and to the South Carolina, home. It appears, unfortunately, some of the appropriate professionals failed to do their end of the job. And I think, in a way, it facilitated to the actions that occurred. They said, first of all, let me start by saying this. Why the hell was this guy even in this place?
That's what I'm saying, though. How can a man like this out? The man, like, people. You see, all of them plane accident and all of them things, and may I tell you, it's become where people never pay attention to nothing anymore. It's become so much, everything is so distraction. It's just distraction upon everything. Nobody not really care about nothing no more, Nobody cares to do a good job. How you can put this money with normal people? And from the beginning, this money. Manners, respect. Big up yourself. How can you put this money with normal people? Eh? As we proceed, people.
Why would this guy even be out? Then you're locked up. Think about this, y'all. You locked up and you got Satan horns, devil horns, tattooed on you. This type of dude you put in that type of facility with other people. Come on, man. What are you doing?
And that may I say. Oh, you can't look upon this man and say this man is not a menace to society. That's all I'm asking, though. As we proceed, people.
So to me, that's a dangerous mistake right there. Then, you know what, man, bro, and this is all the type of stuff that we don't see. And you know what? I gotta understand what some of the homies say. We don't see public outrage about this. We don't see 5,000 people in the chat complaining about this type of shit, man. We don't. It's sad, bro. It is. When I read these stories, man, and I bring these stories to y'all, because I see a lot of these stories all the time. I tell y'all this. I have another channel where I do videos about this y'all don't even know about. And on a podcast show, we talk about this stuff all the time. But this guy right here, man, come on, man. Come on, man. And I'm gonna tell you something, bro. The fact that he was even put in this same facility, the fact that he was even out. It's some people, bro. Like I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, man. Some people, man, they don't need to be free, bro. I'm just being honest with y'all, man. Some people don't need to be free. Some people have to be in a certain place an entire time of their life. And I'm just being honest. Some people cannot be out in regular society.
And I said that. I talk about that. I said some people are not human. I said it. This is why I say like-minded people. You know, have to know the people them around uno. And a true thing, some of them people are not supposed to get out, but them people, these are the people them let out. You understand? These are the people them let out. And look which part them put them on. With the vulnerable people them. The man have devil tattoo on him. Yo, as we proceed, people.
Because it is proven that everybody cannot be rehabilitated. Everybody can't change. The man got devil horns on him, and they put this man in a man has devil horns on his face, tatted on his face, claiming he worshiped the devil. And you putting this man around people, loved ones. Now think about this, y'all. And I'm telling y'all this. If they find out it was true, that people was negligent and stuff like that, and I'll be honest with y'all, it might not even been people that was negligent. It might have been people that was found afraid of this dude. Because you got to have some type of different, you got to have, to me, when you dip, I'm going to say this, and I want to say this respectfully. When you have these certain types of homes like this, mental homes, stuff like this, you got to have certain type of people working in there, bro. I'm just be honest with y'all, man. You got to. You have to me, you have to have certain type of people that are physically able to deal with this type of stuff. And I'm talking about they have to be the majority, not the minority. Can't just have one big swole dude in there with a whole bunch of old people in there that's controlling these people. That ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. You gotta have muscle in there, man. And a lot of y'all, any of y'all who work in any of these types of, y'all know I ain't lying. Y'all know I ain't lying. So I can't really go into that because, like I said before, I just can't go into that, you know. But if you know, you know. But the fact that this dude was in there, nah, ain't no dice. Ain't no dice. Ain't no dice, man. No dice. Dude got devil horns on, acting like that, and you got people coming up missing, and he in. Yo, man. Like, share, subscribe. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Okay, people. Right? We keep on saying past, present, future. It not change. It doesn't change. It's pretty much the same thing that happen over and over and over. Yeah? When we look on them things at people, them things that used to happen in the past, you know. These things used to happen in the past. Right? Now, we talk about how it was for us in a certain situation in the past where we had no rights, right? And it hasn't changed much in the present. Under the story where the girl from Rosewood, the girl tell a lie, right? Say it was somebody attack her when she have two boyfriend, right? The story of Charlie and Ernest again, the girl tell a lie, right? The girl tell a lie, and then the whole community tell a lie. So them did in that the program that them talk about the lynching of the two woman and the two man, right? And I say I go highlight it. The reason why me start off with that brother there, where that brother there, the man backs up the people them, eat them flesh, and I talk about that yesterday. The sacrifice, them drinking blood. I'm tell you say when them analyze them two youth up on the bridge and bring it in at the town and show the people them say look what we did. It's a sacrifice. It's a ritual. I tell you say present, past, and future it now go change. It's not gonna change because some people don't change. The same things where them practice are where them teach them kids. And that's where them kids learn for teach for them kids. So this is the story, right? I'm telling you, so this guy is Julian Johnson Law, right? And him do a lot of history on our true history. And him say enough of them things here people don't talk about. And it's so important for us to talk about these things, right? So when him do the two brothers, I'm tell you said this is something that consistently go on back in the days, all of these cities, I saw them used to treat with, right? But as we proceed, people,
Going to be a hard story to hear, but it's necessary.
the funny thing about it, at least in going a disclaimer, say these stories are hard, people. But I'm telling you, say when you live them things, yeah, right? It's not hard. We've been through it already, and we're gonna go through it again. We've been through it before. We're gonna go through it again if we don't change it. As we proceed, people, I just don't want continuously do the same highlight and the same situation. Come and tell us, we have scientists, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have so much greatness in our blood. But it seems like people always want our blood like how that the man they are drinking. As we proceed, people.
Going to be a hard story to hear, but it's necessary to tell. We have to tell the stories of those who lived and died in injustice. What happened to them cannot be lost and should not be lost to shame and kept quiet because it makes some feel uncomfortable. These are stories of real people who lived and died in a real time when the rule of law abandoned Black people. This story is full of pain and abuse and brutality and suffering. It's horrific if I'm being honest with you, but it's an important story that must be told. This story gives dignity to the Black people that Jim Crow stole everything from. Before I get into what happened to the Black people I'm going to tell you about, I need to give you some historical context first. This history helps to understand how this kind of violence and injustice could take place, and no one thought twice about it. So give me a few moments to explain this, and then I'll get into what happened. Before the Civil War, lynching of Black people rarely occurred because to lynch an enslaved Black person meant that you were taking someone's property. And if they lost their property, they lost their money. Lynching was reserved for whites, but as Black people moved into freedom and enfranchisement, lynching moved to be distinctly Black, a practice that was reserved exclusively for Black people. And one state in particular holds the honor for being the lynching capital of the country, and that is Mississippi. After emancipation, in Mississippi, lynching of Black people was commonplace. One historian said that it was characteristic of the society. On average, 2 to 3 Black men were lynched a day in the years after the Civil War in Mississippi. So many Black people were lynched in Mississippi that there are no real numbers to gauge just how many people died between emancipation and the year 1890. Entire Black families were wiped away during this period. It's as if they never existed. They were here one day and lynched the next. By 1962, at least 538 Black people were lynched in Mississippi alone. It was the highest number in the United States. And even though Georgia and Texas were close rivals, Mississippi was the worst. And it was the most embarrassing state to those in Congress who opposed passing federal anti lynching legislation. Mississippi ranked first in all categories, first in the most lynchings, first with the most multiple lynchings, the most per capita, the most female victims, the most victims taken from police custody, the most lynchings without arrest or conviction of mob leaders, and the most public support for mob lynching. From 1882 to 1945, Mississippi had 42 double, 8 triple, 6 quadruple, and 3 quintuple lynchings, and it had some of the most brutal forms. Black people were executed by blowtorch and tortured to death with hot irons and drowned and bludgeoned and dragged behind cars.
People, and that's our history, That's our story. That's our story. Them things are in our DNA. It's within us. That's why I am so, I don't understand how we treat each other the way we treat each other. I don't understand how we do them things here to each other. The youth we have the girl in the dorm and him burn her with the clothing iron. Him burn her with the clothing iron, people. What in a one person mind we could have think them things here? Why you don't want to do that to a next person and consider yourself human? And that me tell you, certain things, once you do certain things, you're not human anymore. As we proceed, people, can me tell you, the things that might happen this morning earlier, when do 2 people? As we proceed,
Dragged behind cars. At least 15 black people died in public burnings. They will call them Negro barbecue. Another characteristic of Mississippi lynching is that no one was ever held accountable. Jim Crow mobs faced no opposition to inflicting injustice on black people. Whites who lynched black people were described by a Mississippi newspaper as being like the offspring of royalty. They were untouchable and not subject to public scrutiny or the law. They did as they felt and pleased to black people. This is the environment that black people lived in the Jim Crow South in the state of Mississippi. Every day could be a day where you could be lynched. That brings me to what happened in Shibuya, Mississippi in 1918. Before I tell you what happened, I have to tell you about the people involved. Give me a few moments to tell you about each of them. It's important that I tell you who they are and where they come from so that their humanity is recognized apart from the brutality they face simply because they were black. Major Clark was born in February of 1897. His brother Andrew Clark was born around 1903. Both were born in Clark County, Mississippi, to Eddie Clark Sr. and Charity Clark. Eddie and Charity were both born before emancipation, so it's likely that they were once enslaved. Major and Andrew were 2 of 11 children. The Clark family worked as farmers, and by 1910, the family managed to own their own home and farm in Enterprise, also located in Clark County.
all right, I'm going to keep on stressing it. We used to own people. We used to own, have our own business. We used to mind our own business. And that, I tell you how ambitious we used to be, people. We used to have the support of each other. The things that I'm telling that are one of the biggest things, we used to be a family. We used to have ambition, pride. Them couldn't broke we, But now we broke ourselves. We're branded. As we proceed, people.
Own home and farm in Enterprise, also located in Clark County. The next family I want to tell you about is the House family. Maggie House was born in 1894. Her sister Alma was born in 1901. Both were
Wow, people are beautiful, Jesus, we say the people them beautiful. And that one thing, but them never have Photoshop for Photoshop. People them just look real. Them look like how we're supposed to look. But them really beautiful for you, Well, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes my spirit just feel. I'm telling us that people, We are one. We can't be separated by anything. And we separate ourselves by choice. As we proceed, people.
Park County to Elias and Amanda House. There were two of six children. Their parents were born before emancipation, so it's also possible that they, like Major and Andrew's parents, also experienced enslavement. The House family worked as sharecroppers and rented land like other Black people in that area. There's a third family involved in this story, and that's the Johnson family. Dr. Everett Johnson was born into a very old and prominent family in Shibuya. His father, Arista Johnson, managed to bring the family back to success despite the end of slavery and the loss of their wealth. By 1918, the Johnson family owned and farmed over 1,000 acres of land in Mississippi. Arista was even elected to represent the people of Shibuya in the Mississippi legislature in 1899. He served there for 3 terms. He will also serve as Shibuya's mayor and as a county supervisor. Because of the wealth and the status that they had, Arista Johnson expected his sons to carry on the family name and pedigree. But Everett couldn't live up to the name. Everett and his 2 younger brothers all went to dental school in Atlanta. After graduating, Everett opened a dental practice in Mobile, Alabama. In 1905, he married a woman named Emma Sullivan, and soon after, they began having children and raising their family in Mobile. Things should have been great for Everett from here, but they weren't. Everett had a serious drinking problem, and it began to cause problems for his life and his dental practice. It got so bad that in 1918, Everett's brother Ernest had to come to Mobile to save his brother's dental practice, but it didn't work. Everett ended up moving back to Shibuya. Everett went back to the family business of farming. This is his 1918 draft card. You see here that he lists his occupation as a farmer. His drinking and all the bad habits that flowed from it ended what should have been a promising career. But even though his dental career was over, it did not stop Everett from doing all the things that put him in this position. In fact, he continued his self-destructive behavior. Rumors began to spread around Shibuya that Everett was having affairs with Black and white women, many of whom were married. White and Black men set their sights on Everett for revenge.
So them did have Joe guy from way back. Now them people past, present, future. So them did have Joe guy from way back in them days, and them people talk about them a Joe guy, eh? No, sir. As we proceed, people. Things that did new. I guess when them said there's nothing new under the sun, them really mean there's nothing new under the sun. As we proceed.
Many of whom were married. White and Black men set their sights on Everett for revenge. It was his inability to control himself that led to a horrific incident of racial mob violence that caused so much pain and injustice for the Clark and House family. Sometime in early 1918, when Everett was about 45 years old, he invited 24-year-old Maggie House and her sister, 16-year-old Alma, to come and live and work on his father's farm. We don't know the exact circumstances surrounding what they were going to do. We don't know if it was to share crop or to do domestic work, but what we do know is that Everett's goal was to get access to Maggie and Alma. Later in 1918, 20-year-old Major and his brother, 15-year-old Andrew, also moved onto the Johnson farm. They were there to pay off a debt that their father owed. Eddie Clark hired out his 2 sons to pay off a debt he had for a mule that the family purchased. It was on
the slave labor. Oh, people. Oh boy. No, okay, all right. When me look on this, right? Me say, what make them not use this when prisoner, when man got prison, right? One time them box up somebody and then got prison. What them not use this? Make them work to take care of the family, where if it's a husband or if it's a whoever then take out of the family, them have to work and pay that family a certain percentage of money. If them can use slave labor for pay off for the ass, eh? Maybe my society that definitely be different from this society now. But me just say, yeah, but use slave labor for, well, again, there was no laws, there was no rules, there's nothing. It's whatever they say goes. It really changed. As we proceed, people.
Eddie Clark hired out his 2 sons to pay off a debt he had for a mule that the family purchased. It was on the Johnson's farm that the 2 young men met Alma and Maggie House. The Clark brothers and the House sisters got to know one another, And it wasn't long before Maggie and Major began to have feelings for each other. The two decided that they wanted to make it official and marry. But there was one problem: Everett Johnston. When Everett found out that Maggie and Major were going to marry, he became enraged and went to confront Major. He told Major to leave Maggie alone. His anger had nothing to do with the possibility of losing a worker. It was far more sinister than that.
I would have brother Thomas Jefferson. No, not Thomas Jefferson. My bad. It was the one where free the slaves them. Thomas Jefferson. Is it Thomas Jefferson? What name there? Am I the one where emancipate brother? As we proceed, because I know say name probably gonna come up in this too, right?
Maggie was pregnant with Everett's child, and so was her younger sister, 16-year-old Alma. Everett had gotten both of them pregnant, and he was determined to keep them for himself. The philandering, disgraced former dentist had abused these two young girls and was fighting to ensure that he can continue that abuse, and Major Clark stood in Everett's way. On December 10th, 1918, Everett was in his barn milking a cow when he was struck by fire from behind. He would later die from his wounds. Suspicion immediately fell on Major Clark. The story that people were spreading was that Major took out Everett so that he could have Maggie to himself, but there was no evidence to support this. In fact, the evidence supported the opposite. After Everett died, Major did not flee. He remained on the Johnston farm. He had not done anything wrong and didn't think he had anything to run from. But
oh Lord, here we go again, people. Me say, from we born, we guilty. When them say we born in a sin, so that means we guilty. People, me tell you, say we always in a fool mind thing, say, we are innocent. I say we guilty. We are always guilty. Because them say we are sinners, so if we are sinners, then we must be guilty. And that me say when we talk certain things and put certain things into perspective, it doesn't help us. As we proceed, people come and tell us that when we get caught up in this, the way we're taught to think about certain things, it not benefit we. As we proceed,
anything to run from. But none of that mattered because Major was soon arrested. Even though blame had been placed on Major, there was still no confession. So officials decided to make sure they had one before his first court appearance. Major was taken to a jail in Meridian, about 40 miles away from Shibuya. Once there, Major was stripped naked. He was then made to sit on top of a vise. The white man then crammed Major's testicles into the vise, between its metal jaws. The men then tightened it. Major screamed out in agonizing pain. They wanted him to confess to intentionally firing at Johnston. When he wouldn't.
So when they talk about the nutcracker, this is what they might talk about, right? This is what they might talk about.
They tightened it more. The pain was too much for Major, and he could not take it any longer. He gave them the confession they wanted to hear. He said that he and his brother, along with the house sisters, plotted to take out Everett. He told the men that he waited in the barn and he hid, and he fired at Everett through a crack from behind. It didn't matter that what Major said wasn't true. All that mattered was that he confessed. The papers reported on Major's confession, but it did not give the details of the torture that was used to secure his false confession. After getting the confessions, the authorities had what they wanted, and also the mob had what it wanted. After Major confessed, his brother Andrew was quickly arrested, along with the house sisters. All four were kept at the county jail in Quitman, right outside of Shibuya. Each told the authorities that they had nothing to do with this, but it was too late. The injustice train had left the station, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. And the plans for their lynching began almost immediately. After spending 9 days in jail, it was time for their first court appearance. On December 20th, 1918, the sheriff transported the Clark brothers and the house sisters to their preliminary hearing in Shibuya. Major had already been tortured into confessing, so when it came time to enter his plea in open court, he continued with his false confession. He didn't want to experience what had happened before with advised, so he pleaded guilty. He said that it was him and his brother Andrew, along with the house sisters, that agreed to take out Johnston, and that he was the one that fired the fatal shot. After that, that was all anyone needed to hear. After the hearing, instead of taking the four back to the jail in Quitman, The authorities took them to the tiny and less secure jail in Shibuya. They placed Sheriff's Deputy William Crane outside to stand guard. He was the only one at the jail to protect the brothers and the sisters. It was clear that the plan had already been put in place to come and seize the brothers and the sisters.
People. We talked about this already, right? I the same thing happened in other case before, you know. Huh? That's the same thing that they did with Charlie Lang and Ernest Green. How do you proceed, people?
On the morning of the preliminary hearing, mob members poured into town, and all available rooms for rent in Shibuya quickly filled up.
Jesus.
And cars from surrounding counties were all over the streets. They knew what they wanted, and that was the Clark brothers and the House sisters. It was clear what was about to happen. So many people came to town that the chief of police quickly left and went to Meridian. That night, the mob began to carry out their plan. First, they went to the town's power plant to cut the electrical supply. This sent the entire town into darkness. Soon after that, over a dozen cars arrived at the jail.
Okay, people. That's why I say if we stop keep dance at night time. Because in the darkness, a pure evil go on. I said past, present, and future not change. As we proceed, people.
Deputy Crane, who was assigned to guard the jail, quickly surrendered to the mob and gave them his keys and led them into the jail where the brothers and the sisters were locked in their cells. The four were seized and then thrown into awaiting cars and taken away to the town's steel frame bridge. This bridge was known as the Hanging Bridge in Shibuya, and it still is to this day. It's where
And that's the bridge that way named there. See? Charlie Lang and Ernest Green got hung from. Mississippi people. Mississippi. Show me, Mama. Yo, all of them people, you know, they still exist today. All of these people still exist today. Different shape, different colors, but still evil.
The bridge was known as the Hanging Bridge in Shibuya, and it still is to this day. It's where many Black people had met their end at the hands of a lynch mob. Once at the bridge, the pregnant girls and the brothers were dragged out of the cars. They were hysterical. They knew what was about to happen. The mob prepared 4 ropes for the lynchings. They secured one end of each rope to the underside of the bridge, and the other side of the rope were tied into nooses and put around the brothers and the sisters' necks. This must have been terrifying for them. I can't even begin to imagine the fear the 4 of them were experiencing in that moment. My mind struggles to comprehend exactly what they felt because it's too much. These were 4 young people who knew they were about to die a horrific death for something that they did not do. And they knew no one would.
And that's the thing, though. Them people never, these people never done anything. They never do nothing to deserve these stuff, though, man. As we proceed, people.
Save them. The brothers and the sisters pleaded for their lives. They told the mob they did not take Johnson's life and had nothing to do with it. They begged the mob not to lynch them. And for Alma and Maggie, they were pleading not only for their lives, but also for that of their unborn children. 16-year-old Alma was due to give birth in 2 weeks,
Jesus
and Maggie
Christ.
was about 5 months pregnant. But none of that mattered. They couldn't stop what was about to happen at the Hanging Bridge. 24-year-old Maggie pleaded for her life as the mob ready to lynch them. She sobbed and begged and said that they were innocent. But the mob did not care. In fact, it only angered them more. As Maggie pleaded for her life, a mob member took a monkey wrench and hit her in the mouth, smashing her teeth in. She continued begging for her life.
Jesus.
He hit her a second time and put a huge...
People. Turner said them people, them monsters, these monsters, people. Them have living monsters. And take the same breath as we. As we proceed, people.
in her head. As Maggie lay there, she watched her 16-year-old and 9-month pregnant sister, Alma, be thrown over the bridge with a noose around her neck. She then watched him do the same to her fiance, 20-year-old Major Clark, and his brother, 15-year-old Andrew. Then it was Maggie's turn. Maggie was picked up and thrown over the bridge with a noose around her neck. When the mob members threw Maggie over, she caught herself on the side of the bridge and began to pull herself back up over the railings. The mob didn't skip a beat. They threw her over a second time. She continued to fight for her life and that of her unborn baby and caught herself again. Undeterred, the mob threw her over a third time. This
You see? That me say. When them say, oh, drag yourself up by your bootstring. This is what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about, you know. When time we draw ourselves up by our bootstring, them still are going to push you back over. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So when we drag up ourselves, are they going to let us free? When we drag up ourselves, are they going to let us free? As we proceed, people.
the mob threw her over a third time, this time taking her life. They treated these two pregnant girls and these two brothers like they weren't even human. Their swinging lynched bodies were discovered the next morning. Clark County officials sent for black people to come and get the bodies, but no black person would do it. Black people stayed away from the hanging bridge. A group of white men had to come and cut the bodies down. The House sisters and the Clark brothers were taken from the bridge and put in the back of a mule wagon. As the wagon made its way through Shibuya, white crowds came to look at the brothers and the sisters as
I told you. Yeah, people. Trophy, because them a sacrifice. They're always being sacrificed. We are the sacrificial lamb. Always been. And we do it to each other too. That's why I say evil doesn't have it doesn't have a color, people. It just have a shape, just have a form. And it probably have a devil tattoo upon the forehead. As we proceed, people, I'm telling you certain things that sometimes they're not easy, you know.
they were taken to Will Patton's funeral home. After the bodies were brought to Patton's funeral home, some witnesses said that they saw Alma's baby moving inside of her stomach. Patton wasn't just the funeral undertaker. He was rumored to be one of the mob members and might have been the one who led the mob. He was also one of the people responsible for spreading the false story that justified the lynching of the four. Because of this, when word was sent to the Clark family to retrieve their son's bodies, their father, Eddie Clark, refused. He was told that a trap was being set for him in Shibuya if he came to get his son's bodies for burial. Major and Andrew Clark were never given a proper funeral or burial. Neither were Maggie and Alma House. Patton buried them in two large holes, one for the brothers and one for the sisters. Injustice and racism stole their lives and robbed them of dignity and death. The next day, on December 21st, 1918, the coroner's jury said that unknown persons committed.
Okay, December this was done. So they were December. October, it was for Charlie and Ernest. And this was December them getting.
Now, this was a common result in the Jim Crow South. Everyone was involved in the brutality against Black people, but no one knew their names when it came time for the investigation. After the quadruple lynching, everyone in Shibuya went back to normal. No one cared that four Black people had lost their lives for no reason. Whites in town had a good Christmas, while Blacks hid in terror. Some Black people even fled the town. What the press said about the Shibuya lynchings and what actually occurred was vastly different. The story the press told was one of
Okay, I don't know how to celebrate. I know I celebrate Christmas, eh? As we proceed, people.
and not of a crazed lynch mob. The official story was that overzealous and impassioned vigilantes had lynched four Black people for taking the life of their white boss. This version took the heat and blame off of the good people and the town of Shibuya. They said nothing about Everett's activities with the sisters. And the reason the lynchers gave for why they had to act was that the next term for the criminal court was not until 3 months later in March of 1919, and that was too long to wait for justice. They said that the brothers and the sisters would have to be cared for and fed while they waited in jail, and that was too much for the mob to accept. They had to be dealt with immediately. So they carried out an economic lynching. When news of the brothers and the sisters lynching reached the NAACP headquarters in New York, the organization quickly sent a telegram to Mississippi Governor Theodore Bilbo requesting information on what happened. At first, the governor ignored the NAACP, but when asked by a reporter if he intended to respond, Governor Bilbo said that his response to the organization was that he did not plan to investigate and that the NAACP can go to hell. The NAACP assigned Walter White to investigate the quadruple lynching. Even though he would later go on to lead the NAACP as an organization fought to change the lives of millions of Black people, at this time, he was just a 26-year-old staffer. He read the reports that had come up from Mississippi. None laid out the truth. They all simply said that 4 victims had been lynched after they took the life of a wealthy landowner after one of the women had trouble with him. It was that word trouble that invited the intrigue to learn more about what happened. Because he could pass for a white man, Walter would often go undercover to investigate acts of mob violence.
So I could pass as a white man. Jesus, I guess that's what we have to go do. No bleach, you know. We have to go paint yourself. I don't know the bleaching thing. But me take the paint. Right? I still like to keep my color underneath the paint. If me bleach, I go erase. Let me take the paint. That's so funny. So the man could have passed as a white man. I saw them people, they don't even know where white is. As we proceed, people, and that may I try to show you what is white.
He did this many times throughout his career. He would pose as a newspaper reporter or as a businessman from the North looking to purchase land in the South to gain information on the lynching. This allowed him to become the leading authority on lynchings and mob violence at the time. He went on to write the NAACP's report, 30 Years of Lynching in the United States, and would often be called to testify about lynchings before committees. Walter White had a knack for digging deep into an incident of a lynching.
People, and him last name is White. The man, maybe him last name, and then look upon and say, oh yeah, he's white. So that's the next thing too. We all change the last name to White. Marcus White. Jameson White. Or change maybe with middle name to White. Wow. 2025 in the loop, the loop, the loop, the loop. Past, present, and future. Wow. As we proceed, people.
To uncover the details that Southern papers did not include in their reports. Southern papers typically framed the lynching from the viewpoint that a Black person deserved what happened to them. Walter would speak to whites in the area and find out what really happened, and many times it was different from what was reported in the papers. He would get whites to talk about the lynchings in their area by acting indifferent or ignorant of what was going on in their town. He would also talk about how he had known of more exciting lynchings in other places. This would anger the Southerners in that area and make them tell him more details about what.
Psych. No one allow you psych for them people. We don't understand all them people. Yo, where is the superior? Oh yeah, superiority in number. And then prove it. Strength in number. That's true. Them actually prove it. And if them wrong, strength in number. How is it we can understand that concept? As we proceed, people.
Tell him more details about what happened, almost as if to show that they held the title for the most exciting lynchings in the South. He used this technique to get lynchers in Tennessee that same year in 1918 to tell him how they had castrated a black man named Jim McElheron and chained him to a tree and doused him with coal oil and then roasted him alive in front of a crowd of 1,000 people. This was a very dangerous assignment for Walter White. The NAACP had launched a branch in Vicksburg in early 1918, but it had endured constant harassment and soon became inactive after Whites ran most of the founding members out of town. For his investigation,
You see? Same thing with the Black Panther, you know. Meanwhile, the KKK is up and kicking today, people. Past, present, future. Nothing changed unless we change it.
Walter was caught, he could have lost his life, so he had to be careful. Before Walter went south, he reached out to some of the NAACP's contacts below the Mason-Dixon line to get more information. Walter and the NAACP wanted to confirm their suspicions that the lynching had to do with the relationship that Everett was having with the House sisters. The organization had a black dentist in Mobile look into Everett's past when he practiced in that city. It also contacted Memphis businessman Robert Church Jr. to see what he could find out. Church was the son of the South's first black millionaire and ran his family's business. He hired a private investigator to look into Johnson's relationship with the House sisters. The NAACP wanted this information to not only get to the bottom of what happened, but also to help in their fight to stop lynching. The organization was just beginning its campaign to get a federal anti-lynching bill passed, and it was crucial that it had information and details on lynchings like this one to show why this legislation was so needed. When Walter White arrived in Shibuya, he tried his usual tricks of trying to get whites to boast about the lynching, but this did not work. The town was still on edge and seething from the events. White was able to talk to a local black preacher named T.H. Dobie and a woman named Hattie House, who was the House's sister's cousin. It was Hattie House who told Walter White about.
Yo, even this lady is beautiful too, people. Wait there. You mean to tell me say all of the beautiful people them dead off? Wow, this lady is beautiful too. Oh, the question mark. The people them look so good in such a tough time. Them skin just a glow. As we proceed, people.
It was Hattie House who told Walter White about how the four died on the bridge. Hattie said that the next day after the lynching, mob members were joking about how hard Maggie fought back that night on the bridge when she kept climbing back over. The black preacher T.H. Dobie, he told White another piece of the story that changed everything. He said that Eric Johnson, Everett's father, said that he did not believe that Major Clark took his son's life. Eric said that he assumed that a white man was the real culprit. He explained that the white man knew of the tension between Everett and Major over the House sisters and used it as a cover to take Everett's life and blame the black men for it. This was a belief shared by many whites around Shibuya before the lynching. Arista told the mob members this and tried to stop the lynching, but they did not care.
And again, people, hello? Them politicians, yeah. Them people are sound different from them politicians nowadays. Eh? The politicians, they don't care. Oh. It's weird. So everything that happened then is happening now. Just weird, nobody know. What's going on? Why is it like this, people? What am I missing here? As we proceed, people.
Told the mob members this and tried to stop the lynching, but they did not care. They planned to lynch the sisters and the brothers, and that's what they were going to do. After Walter White got these horrific details, he quickly left Shibuya and returned to New York so that he could publish the real story of what happened to the Clark brothers and the House sisters. Walter White wrote about what happened in Shibuya in the May 1919 issue of the NAACP's monthly magazine, The Crisis. He told the truth about what happened to the Clark brothers and the House sisters, and not the false narrative that blamed and justified their lynchings. Had it not been for the brave work of Walter White in putting his life on the line to investigate this, the truth about what happened in Shibuya would have never gotten out. When it came to inflicting injustice on Black people, right or wrong did not matter. It did not matter if a community held a negative opinion of a white person. that they claim was harmed by a black person. He or she could be the worst person in the world in their eyes. Racial prejudice and hatred would overcome their shared disdain for the white person and refocus it on the black person. That was the hypocrisy of Jim Crow. Truth did not matter, only race. I want to know your thoughts on this story.
People, truth does not matter. The truth does not matter. Tell us that sometimes people we choose not to understand, because it's not important for us to understand. So when our kids come along and for them kids come after, them not understand nothing. There's no reason to change anything. Because them just accept it for what it is. These stories are sad, people, but these stories are the truth. And it always come down to lies, lies, lies. Truth don't matter. Color does. Race does. Race matters to the races. As we proceed, people,